Hello, everybody. Welcome to another fantasy football tournament series, number 42. And this one is the Happy Cup. 16 nations that are among the happiest nations in the world. Um, so you see a lot of Scandinavian countries, but if I made this tournament about the 16 most happiest countries in the world, they would have primarily have come from one or two regions of the world, and I wanted to diversify it, so I made it into a geographical, varied tournament where I took the happiest nations from each confederation to sort of, balance it out, give it a more of an international cup kind of feeling. So here you have 16 of the happiest nations on the planet. And I got this idea from one of my subscribers. I'd like to thank them. I believe it was Fall of Roma for the idea. So shout out to Fall of Roma. And let's go through the participants. So it's a 16-team tournament. The two best from each go through to the quarterfinal, semi, third place final. You know the drill. The host nation that I selected for this tournament is Sweden. So the teams are, let's go by group. Group A is Sweden, Malawi, an African country, the Netherlands, and USA. Group B is Iceland, Australia, Algeria, and the Philippines. Group C is Denmark, Costa Rica, New Zealand, and Finland. And Group D is Switzerland, Canada, Norway, and Chile. So, let's jump right in. I chose Sweden because Sweden's known for being a model country for the world. They're a social democracy. They also have one of the highest happiness indexes in the world. They're not the happiest country in the world. I believe Finland holds that title at the current moment. But I wanted to pick Sweden as the host nation just because why not? And the opening match for Sweden in this tournament would probably take place at the Friends Arena in Solna. Isn't that very fitting? The Friends Arena in a tournament for the happiest nations in the world. So get a good look again. These are the teams. Let's jump right in. Sweden, Malawi, the Netherlands, and the USA in Group A. In this tournament, I think host nation Sweden would top this group. The Netherlands, they were in a qualifying group for 2018. The Netherlands picked off 4 points of them, but I think I give the advantage to Sweden because they did qualify for the World Cup. Netherlands are going through a transition period, and also because Sweden are my host. So I think Sweden would win this group. And for second, it would be between Netherlands and the United States. I got to give it to the Dutch here. And Malawi would finish a distant fourth. So I'm going with Sweden and the Netherlands to go through. Group B, Iceland, Australia, Algeria, and the Philippines. Well, the Philippines are the weakest team in this tournament. They actually just recently qualified for their first ever Asian Cup, and I think in an international tournament where they're up against even better opposition, they would not have very much of a chance. So the Philippines would not go through. They would finish bottom of this group. Iceland, I'm really high on them lately. Euro 2016 quarterfinalists. They can go on another deep run in Russia if they really hit their stride. I consider Iceland a top 10 team from the continent of Europe. Not a top 10 team in the world, but a top 10 European national team. They should win this group. And then the battle for second between Australia and Algeria. I'm giving it to Australia because Algeria, for some reason, just completely collapsed in qualifying. They did not make it to Russia 2018. I think they have the more talented individuals, Slimani, Mahrez, but Australia, I would give it here just because of current form. And you know me, I'm a very much a current form kind of guy. Australia, they made hard work of Asian qualifying, but they sold themselves short. They are much better than a fifth place team in Asia. They're the current Asian champions for a reason. And I do think Australia is one of those teams that they know how to grind out a result in these kind of competitions. They earned a respectable 2 points from the Confederations Cup last summer. They drew 2 of their games in the group stages, including a draw with Copa America champions Chile. They actually came 1 goal away from advancing out of that tournament. Australia overachieved at the Confederations Cup, in my opinion. So they come in second in this group. Iceland and Australia go through. Group C, Denmark, Costa Rica, New Zealand, and Finland. There are 2 very clear favorites in this group. They are Denmark and Costa Rica. New Zealand getting that international tournament experience. They don't play outside of Oceania very often, but it's too much for them in this group. Finland themselves, they're probably the weakest of all the Nordic nations, to be honest. I even think they're weaker than New Zealand right now, so I'd pick New Zealand to come in third in this group. But for the top 2 spots, it's got to be Danish Dynamite. Just a class team. Christian Eriksen, Delaney, Pione Sisto, who I think has the potential to be the breakout star of this coming World Cup. Look out for the name Pione Sisto, guys. I'm being serious. And then Costa Rica's Costa Rica. They're still a very defensively drilled and disciplined team from CONCACAF. They usually make it to World Cups. We saw what they did in Brazil 4 years ago. The core of that team is still there. They're not as good as they were in 2014, but they should come through at least second in this group, at least second, quite comfortably. So I've gone with Denmark and Costa Rica to advance. And then in the final group, Switzerland, Canada, Norway, and Chile. This has potential to be the group of death because Canada had an impressive CONCACAF Gold Cup in 2017. They finally, after more than a decade, have a couple of really decent players coming to the fore, like Alphonso Davies. Norway have improved since the failure of qualifying for Euro 2016. They finished off 2018 qualifying for the World Cup strongly, even though they did fail to do so. So look for Norway to potentially return to a major international tournament as early as Euro 2020. They seem to have been on the up, but it was just too late at that point in the cycle to get to the World Cup. But they finished the final 2 match days strongly, defeating Northern Ireland and the Czech Republic. So, in this group, Switzerland, who on their day, I think they can beat anybody in Europe. Lichtsteiner, Giroud, Embolo, Behrami, Shaqiri, Benaglio. I mean, Switzerland is just, they're a stacked team. They're one of the more overlooked teams, national teams in Western Europe. Potential dark horse. They usually make it to the World Cup, but they're the favorites in this group. I even put them ahead of Chile, who stunningly did not qualify for the World Cup. That's really remarkable. In my opinion, Chile not making it is the biggest surprise of the 2018 cycle, not the Netherlands, not Italy, because you have to consider Chile, they are 2-time Copa America champions, 2015, 2016, got to the final of the 2017 Confederations Cup. They were a side that many pegged to be a potential World Cup semi-finalist for 2018, and they did not even qualify for the tournament. It really shows you how cutthroat of a region the CONMEBOL qualifying zone is. But they were in a spell of bad form closing out under their manager Juan Antonio Pizzi. So I'd gone with the Swiss to top of this group, but Chile just have still far too much quality for Norway and especially Canada. So I'm going with Switzerland and Chile to advance. But I give Switzerland first just because, benefit of the doubt, they qualified for the World Cup. Chile did not. And there's a reason for it. So let's move on to the quarterfinals. So in the quarterfinals, we have Sweden versus Australia, Denmark versus Chile, Iceland versus the Netherlands, and Switzerland versus Costa Rica. First match, Sweden, Australia. If it was a neutral venue, I actually don't see very much separating these teams. Sweden don't really have a prolific goal scorer. In the post Zlatan Ibrahimovic era, under Jan Anderson, their more tactically astute manager, they have sort of moved on to a more collective effort as part of their team identity. They have a couple of standout playmakers like Emil Forsberg, Jimmy Durmaz, Gronkvist, and they're really good in aerial positions, especially off of set pieces. But Sweden, they're still they've moved on from Zlatan, but they're still recovering from lacking an out-and-out world-class striker up front. But it's actually quite incredible that they qualified for the World Cup, considering the opposition they had to go through in France, an albeit not so great Netherlands team, and Italy in the playoffs. Sweden is quite fortunate to be in the World Cup because in the last few international tournaments they've been relatively poor. I remember they did not score a single goal in Euro 2016. The only goal they did receive in that tournament was an own goal that counted for them off when they played against the Republic of Ireland. But here they're at home. They're against Australia. I give Sweden the slight advantage. So Sweden goes through. Denmark versus Chile. This would be a good match. They actually played each other in the recent international break in March, I believe, and that ended in a 0-0 draw, if I'm not mistaken. Or was that against... Yes, I think it was a 0-0 draw. Here, I'll go with Denmark to get through. I think Eriksson would be the difference maker. Chile, I don't know. They going in a little bit of a funk now. It's unfortunate. I still can't believe Chile didn't qualify. I still can't believe it. Iceland versus the Netherlands. I'm going to spice things up a little bit. I'm going to, it's not really fun to predict tournaments in a very straightforward manner. And you would never think in this universe I would say Iceland would be the favorites in this scenario. But Iceland are absolutely favorites in this scenario because of the fact the Netherlands are in a rebuilding phase. I'm actually going to say the Netherlands comes through this. I think they'll use their experience. But Iceland would actually be considered the favorite in this fixture, believe it or not. Switzerland, Costa Rica. This video is kind of getting long. I want to wrap it up. Switzerland versus Costa Rica. They're actually meeting each other in the World Cup next month, this summer actually. I am going to go with Costa Rica here. Think Switzerland's goal-scoring issues will continue, as they did in qualifying against teams like Latvia and Andorra. So I think Costa Rica will be the sole non-European representative in the semifinals. The semifinals, we have Sweden versus Denmark, the Netherlands versus Costa Rica. Sweden versus Denmark, nice Scandinavian rivalry. I'm going with Denmark because I think they have the most talented squad overall. Nobody on Sweden really stands out. Like I mentioned, Denmark just have more menacing and creative forwards in the striker's position. I just think Sweden, they're at home, but I'm going to give it to the Danes here. I think they're a more quality side. So Denmark would go to the final. Holland versus Costa Rica. Holland, Netherlands, whatever you want to say. I say both pretty much interchangeably. Will the Costa Rica get revenge for their elimination in the 2014 World Cup quarterfinals? I'm going to say no. I think the Netherlands go through here. So that means the third placed match is Sweden versus Costa Rica. I'll be nice to the host nation. I think Sweden would go through here with a narrow 1-0 victory. So Costa Rica coming fourth in the Happy Cup. Host nation Sweden would come in third with the bronze medal. Then we have the final between the Netherlands and Denmark. Who takes it? Or actually, doesn't really matter, but technical order is Denmark, Netherlands. I'm going with Denmark. Yeah, I'm going with the Danes to win this tournament over the Netherlands in a 3-2 victory. And that's it. The Netherlands come in second. Denmark are the winners of the Happy Cup. They'll be very happy with this. So Denmark in first, the Netherlands in second, Sweden in third, Costa Rica in fourth. Thank you for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. Leave a comment below, like, subscribe. Hopefully I see you later, God willing. Have a good one. Bye-bye.